Gosh, man. I'm feeling sweating. Gosh.
Hello world, from whichever time zone you're catching me from, my name is MT90 and welcome to my YouTube channel.
I want every white person in this room.
If you're new to the platform, make sure you hit the subscribe button, turn on the post notifications by ringing the bell, so that every time I put up an upload, you'll be able to catch it. Well, today's video, we're going to the Freedom Statue. So today's video, we are focusing on looking at the story of the man behind the Freedom Statue, Zambia's Freedom Statue. His name is Mr. Zako Mtembo. So we're looking at the Freedom Statue. This is the Freedom Statue where a man depicts a man breaking the chains. So this story is real. The man actually broke those chains, and this is the man, Mr. Mtembo, is the one that we're looking at in this particular video. So the story is, he was born in 1936 in Mbala. This is the northern part of Zambia, and where he was involved in the youth wing in terms of political activism during the freedom fighting era when Zambia was trying to get its independence. He did not go far in terms of education, so he joined the youth wing and became the chairperson in Northern Province, and became so active and proactive in terms of the freedom fighting scenario that him and a couple of people were sent to Kenya in 1957. So Mr. Mtembo was very active in terms of political activism on the northern part of Zambia, in Mbala in particular. So in 1957, him and a couple of other youths that were very proactive in terms of fighting for Zambia's freedom were sent to Kenya to go and learn how Zambia'S was carrying out his rebellion in Kenya, and come and implement whatever they would learn from there in Zambia afterwards. So in 1957, they went to Kenya to go and train and understand how Zambia'S was carrying out his rebellion that side, and then come back to Zambia and implement those strategies. Now, the story of him breaking the chains where the Freedom Statue is depicted from comes along like this. So when they came back, he still stayed active in terms of politics. So later on in his political activism, he became so integral in terms of the political fight that every time that Kaunda had to give a speech over anything, trying to enlighten people on the importance of their freedom, Mr. Mtembo would be like a forerunner. He would go on stage, from the general public to say this is why the colonial government is wrong, this is why we need to have our own freedom and stuff like that. So it was like Kaunda's forerunner on stage every time that he was giving a public speech. Kaunda wrote a letter to the governor at the time. He sent Mr. Mtembo to go and deliver this letter. In fact, Mr. Mtembo volunteered to go and deliver this letter. So Mr. Mtembo went to what we now refer to as State House, which was the governor's house at the time, to deliver this letter, which was in protest from Kaunda by instruction. So when he delivered this letter, as he was walking out of the premises, he was tortured, beaten, and arrested, and then later on released. He was taken to Kaunda's house, where he was celebrated as a hero because of what he had volunteered to do to deliver this letter, because everyone understood the risk that was involved. So he was just one of those people that was very antagonistic against the colonial government and very active, trying to fight for freedom. So later on in his political activism, there was a fight in a certain part of Zambia, where a political fight ensued, and as a result, he was arrested from that. And from the fight, he was beaten so badly that he lost two of his front teeth. And then in court, he was asked to explain himself, to say, he was asked to demonstrate actually by the judge, to say, can you demonstrate how you lost your teeth, how you were beaten? So he volunteered. He walked out of the dock with the stand where he was standing, and he went to demonstrate to the judge, to say, because he had been called upon to demonstrate what had happened. And in his process of demonstrating, he punched the prosecutor, a white person, to the point that he started bleeding. To say that's how bad I was beaten. When he was arrested, in the presence of 18 soldiers armed with guns. So you know what soldiers do. If you've seen a lot of movies where they arrest someone that they've been looking for a while, and then they start knocking you, or police people there, whatever. That was the scenario of his arrest. So he was arrested and chained, and he was instructed to say, break off from these chains, or we are going to shoot you dead. It was just one of those things that we are not expected to say. You cannot break from the chains. They're just mocking the person in short. But ironically, in the presence of the photographers and everyone, he broke the chains. 18 soldiers just looked at him. Photographers took a picture of that, and that is what is depicted on the Freedom Statue. So later on, as his life went by in Zambia, after Zambia, let's say in oh yes, I mean later on in the life of Zambia in 1974, that's 10 years after Zambia had obtained its independence. Because we obtained our independence in 1964. So 10 years later, the Freedom Statue was put up, and that's when it was commissioned or unveiled. That's when the Freedom Statue was unveiled, depicting that moment where Mr. Muchimbo had broken those chains. So he's a celebrated figure in Zambian political history, and that's where when you're around Zambia, or when you visit Zambia, so that's the story behind the Freedom Statue. It's not just there depicting, there's a human being behind that is still alive until now. That is still lives in Mbala, there's another part of Zambia. Yeah, so that's the story about the Freedom Statue. So where the Freedom Statue is located when you come to Zambia, it's in the central business district of Zambia, just opposite Kamwala. There's a video that I posted out recently talking about public transportation in Zambia. I think I'll tag it here, and you can check it out, so that you know the location. It's like 5 minutes away from Cairo Road. It's easy to access. In the video that I've done about the intercity, you were able to access the location of the Freedom Statue. It's very nearby. It's exactly where the government complex is, and then on the left-hand side, that's if you're standing the way I'm standing. On the left-hand side, that's where you find the museum, and then the government complex, and a couple of government institutes there. So that's the story about Mr. Zako Mtembo, who broke those chains. So don't think it's just a structure that has been put up there. There's a man behind that, and he still lives. Just another sneak peek before I head out. There's another story. There's another part that I wanted to share with you guys. To say, so after he was celebrated, I mean after they delivered that letter to the governor's place, that counter instructed him to concerning the new constitution, which the black people were protesting against. After his celebration, like later on at 03, he went to Cairo Road and started he got a megaphone and started advocating for freedom and pretty much campaigning against the colonial masters. So he went in the tree, that's where he was campaigning from. And then in 6 hours, the policemen came and surrounded the tree and asked him to say, if he does not get down from the tree, they're going to shoot him dead. That's how he got down from the tree, but by then people had already got the message. So he was arrested, he was transferred to Livingston prison, and that's where the entire scenario of him breaking the chains happened. Yes. So the tree is just opposite the main post office, along Cairo Road. When you come into Zambia, along Cairo Road, the main post office is the tree opposite that. It's still called Zako tree. It's been renamed in honor of him. So it's got a lot of history and activity. He's very active in terms of fighting freedom in Zambia. So if you're new to this platform, make sure you check out the other playlists that I've created. There are a number of videos that I've done. If you found this interesting, share it with someone so they get enlightened and they know this history about Zambia. And I'll see you in the next video.
I want every white person in this room